we have the meeting chat, so I'm gonna put it there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ajahn. Yeah. สวัสดีค่ะ สวัสดี from the International Program of Asean Communication Sukhothai Thammathirat Open University. Greeting from ASEAN region. So tonight we have a very special program. We have the great honor of speaker from our friend, our consultant, our policy partner from ITU to have a talk with you tonight. So I do hope that tonight will be a very resourceful and informative night between us. So may I introduce Dr. Ismail Shah, the ITU head of area office from Jakarta. Dr. Ismail, the floor is yours, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kamalrat. It's a pleasure to be here and to talk to you today about the telecommunication. So I'll just introduce the topic of telecommunication, and then at the end, I will also provide some context in the ASEAN region and some suggestions for you to proceed. So what is telecommunication? A very simplistic definition would be it's communication over a distance. A more technical one is, of course, written there, it's signals, messages, words. But I think the first one is good enough for you. Communication over a distance, that's what we do. But usually when we say telecommunication, we usually refer to technical ways of communicating over distances, because there are other ways of communication over a distance also. For example, if you talk about or imagine how we started communicating. So initially it was non-verbal, there were no languages, then we started having verbal communication languages. Then there was a need to communicate over distances, so people started using smoke as a signal. Then people started writing in books and would send those letters and books, and even through pigeons. That was a way of communication over distances. Then we have semaphore, where actually the alphabets were displayed from a distance, and people would use to see it through telescope to see what message is being conveyed. So these were all the things that were happening. And then finally we had the technical form of communication. The first one was telegraph, which was transmitting electrical signal over a wire. Then we started having telephone, and then we started having radio, television, multimedia communication. And finally, we have now data communication, or the internet, that we use so often. So just a little bit about telegraph. It was developed, you may have heard this name, although telegraph has been closed in most of the countries. There are only very few countries left who are still using telegraph. So as I said, it's transmitting electrical signal over a wire that is laid between two stations. And the first telegraph was actually sent in 1844, and it is still available. If you click at the link, you can actually see a video where it shows the first telegraph that was sent from Washington, D.C. in the US to Baltimore, which is another city. And then later on, there were many cross-Atlantic. That means the wire were laid under the sea from the United States to Europe, where these signals would be passed. And this was kind of the code that was used for different alphabets. They are called dots and dashes. So a combination of dots and dash would represent a letter or a number. That's at that time, you see how to, for example, how many dots should be there for, letter A, how many dashes should be there and all. So this required standardization. And that actually gave birth to my organization that I'm working in, which is the International Telecommunication Union. Actually, this is one of the oldest organization of the United Nations. And it started off as International Telegraph Union in 1865. More precisely, it was established on 17th May 1865, and it was, as I said, it was established as the International Telegraph Union, and this day is still celebrated, although we have changed the name because now we have not only telegraph but so many other information and communication technologies. So each year on 17th May, this day is celebrated as the World Telecommunication and Information Society Day. And I think it is celebrated probably in the countries that you are from also. Then ITU also had another part which relates to the wireless communication. That means the initial telegraph was using wires, and then there was a need to communicate without wires, like the way your mobile phone works. They are not connected through wires, so they use a spectrum. So there was another aspect of that that was later on added to ITU's responsibility, and then in 1949, ITU became the specialized agency of the United Nations for telecommunication, and it still is the specialized agency of the United Nations, but it is like more than just telecommunication now. It is for all the information communication technologies. So so we were at telegraphy, which was using the wired medium, and then experimentation were done with wireless communication that doesn't use a wire, and it started in 1885, where a signal was sent over 10 miles without any wires, and then so that was the start of the wireless telegraphy. And then people wanted to talk also over distances, long distances. And that's when the telephone or telephony was invented in 1876 by Alexander Graham Bell. He was actually working with deaf people, so he was trying to amplify the voice of people, and he invented this telephony, which actually then started to grow, and we started having these people wanted to talk, and they would be connected through these switchboards or telephone exchanges, where people would be sitting there and they will connect one user to the other. So there were actually manual switches. And then other developments happened. We started having automated exchanges, electronic exchanges, digital exchanges. And then the satellite communication started. So satellites were launched, and the signal would be sent to the satellite, then it will come down, and people were able to talk across different continents, which is not very efficient. So that's why then people and countries, they started laying cables. First, the regular cables, the coaxial cables that you see that you have in your homes, and later on the fiber optic cable. So the fiber optic cable actually is a cable which actually uses light as a signal, and the light travels inside the fiber optic cable, and it has very high data carrying capacity. So that's why, for example, you may have heard this term fiber to the home. So when you have your home connected to the fiber, you can have very high speed internet. So right now, the way the internet or the whole communication system is established is that in between continents, we have submarine cables, fiber optic cables, which carry very high data rate. And many of the countries that you are from, they are connected to the international world through those cables. Even within the country, different cities are connected through fiber optic cable. And then there are certain countries who do not have a sea, they are landlocked. So those are connected through land-based fiber optic cable through their neighboring countries. So this is how the whole uh, data carrying network is established. And then these cables are then they connect in between cities. We also have cables, and those cables, they finally go to the towers of the mobile phone. And from there, the signal is transmitted wirelessly, and you receive it on your mobile phone usually. So this is now the usual way of communication. Your mobile phone transmit, it is received by the tower, then it gets converted into the fiber optic cable or a land-based cable, and it then goes to the international submarine cable and so on, depending on what are you trying to access, what server and where it is based. And this is known as the backhaul. So, and then the final point between your tower and your mobile phone, that is known as the last mile. So we need both. So countries who have the good policies, they are able to have good networks, they have good data rates. When the data rates are good, they have access to different services, and then their whole economy and people are connected, and the economy is in good shape. So as I said, the final mile, we have for non-cellular, we have, for example, the Wi-Fi that we get connected to. In cellular communication, we started out with the first G, 2G, and then ITU also got involved in that. And we came up with IMT 2000, which is known as 3G, IMT Advanced as 4G, IMT 2020 as 5G. So starting from 3G, we started having higher data rate support, and then around that time, which is 2007-8, we started having mobile phones, smartphones. So then you started having internet even on phones. Before that, it was very low speed, or the smartphones were not there, so you could not use your phones much except for talking. But now you can use it to access the internet, and it has become the major device to access the internet. Especially in 4G, you even have higher data rates, and in 5G, you will not only have high data rates, but you will also have uh, IoT's Internet of Things, which means that many devices will also be connected to the internet beside human beings. And then you will also have low latency applications, which means self-driving cars and autonomous cars, because they can be driven from a central place. So those type of things will start seeing once we have 5G. But even with 4G, and with general internet, high-speed internet, you are seeing so many applications. So this is just a timeline of how ITU grew, and how the different inventions, the TV, radio, the space age, etc. happened. Similarly, this is the timeline for the internet, the broadband, and also the different celebrations that we had. So in 2015, we had the 150th celebration of ITU. Nowadays, what we do is that we have countries as members, we have industry as members, and we have academia as members. And I'm sure your university would be a member. If not, they should become a member. And what do we try to do? We give out, we coordinate the spectrum among different countries. Why is that required? So that when equipment is manufactured, it comply to a standard. They can talk to each other. It is cheap, and so on. Like for example, in your mobile phone, if you have, let's say, a Samsung mobile phone, and you don't know what equipment there is there on the other side, but you are able to talk because both the phones and the system, they comply to ITU standards. Similarly, the development side, we are giving recommendations to countries to have good policies, because policies are very important. You see, in telecommunication ICT sector, most of the investment is done by the private sector, but the government need to have the right policies. We also have offices around the world, and in this region we have two, one in Bangkok, one in Jakarta. These are the countries that we cover from this region. And as you can see, the 10 countries of ASEAN are also covered from these two offices. And but one of the slightly disappointing thing is that 6 out of the 10 ASEAN countries are still uh, low income countries and landlocked low income countries. One of the things that we promote, you may have heard this term about sustainable development goals, which are to be met by 2030. So we would like that the world doesn't have any poverty, there is no hunger, there is quality education, and so on. And we believe that the information communication technologies, the internet, all these things are going to help in achieving these a lot. And actually nowadays, you are having a pilot of this. Right now, we are having e-education. And during the COVID-19 pandemic, actually everything was online and still is online. So that is actually kind of a pilot for the future. So this awareness has increased, and we hope that we will be able to achieve these these goals. So now what has happened over all these years is that connectivity is one thing. So connectivity can be through Wi-Fi, it can be through fiber optic cable, it can be through the 3G, 4G, and now 5G technologies. Usually, when we talk about telecommunication, we usually refer to this type of technology that we are using at the back end, and the internet is generally used on top of it. So for example, whatever connectivity you have on your phone, let's say 4G, you can still use internet. On your on your laptop, it is connected to Wi-Fi and you still access the same internet. So those are all the access technologies. But right now, but that is historic term. Telecommunication means communicating over a distance. So previously it was voice, then it became data, and it is still data to continue. So now we talk about the internet is basically a combination of all these communication technologies, devices, and applications, like for example this Internet Explorer, these Teams that you are connected to, Zoom, all these are different applications. And in general, we call them information communication technologies. And there is a very good video which explains the basis of the internet, which is something which is known as a packet-based network. It is very similar to a postal network where we actually send the data in forms of packets. So address is written on each packet and it travels. Then this video describes it very well. So if you have the time, you can go over this video and you will see how the internet works at the physical layer. But from a user point of view, you just need connectivity and you need to know how to use the application that you are interested in. And this is nowadays what internet is being used for shopping, for entertainment, for Facebook, for text messaging, for YouTube videos, and so on. This is just 60 seconds of what happens. These many things happens in 60 seconds over the internet. And many of these platforms have actually become much bigger than the countries. Like the biggest platform, Facebook, is bigger than the biggest country. YouTube, which is the second one, is also bigger than the next biggest country. And you can go down the list. So if you look at the internet, it is kind of a net world, right, rather than the countries. But that has created some problems also, because each country has its own rules and regulation, and at times some of these applications or the users on those applications do not comply to the rules of the country. So it's a very challenging world these days. And then there is an issue of, fake news. You really don't know what is real and what is being created. The social norms are also changing. But at the same time, there are lots of opportunities also. Like, for example, if you are a Facebook user, you have so many users that is a market for you. If you have a product, you can actually launch products on Facebook. Similarly, you can create your own YouTube channel if you are into mass media, mass communication, and so on. So internet is very, very relevant these days, and ITU, this is what we actually aim for. We would like to have meaningful connectivity. Why? Because we would like that the world should transform digitally. So connectivity is one part. As I mentioned, it can be any technology, fixed, wireless, cellular, and so on. Here, the policies of the government are very important. So spectrum is one of the major issue, right of way, that allocating spectrum to the operators, that's how they will be able to provide you with 3G, 4G, 5G services. Similarly, if they are laying fiber to the home or in between cities, they need to dig the roads or the sides of the road, so they have to be given the right of way to put the fiber in. And once you have some connectivity, it has to be meaningful. Right now, a study has shown that out of the about 4 billion users who are not connected, the 3.28 billion, they are under coverage area. So they have some kind of coverage, whether 3G or 4G or Wi-Fi, but they are not using the internet because they may not have skills. They may not be able to afford the device that is required. They may not be afford the connectivity. Only 750 million or 0.75 billion are out of coverage. So they need to be connected and they need to know how to use this connectivity. The quality also is of concern. If the quality is not good, if you are not able to connect at a good speed, at a good cost, and you don't have the skills, or if your network is not secure, you lose your money if you do a transaction, then it's not meaningful connectivity. But the important part is, what do you want to use it for? So nowadays, if you see, everything has changed. Like, for example, I have not watched television maybe in the last 1 year, because I'm just using the internet to watch anything that I would like to on YouTube and Netflix and so on. So I just need a smartphone internet connectivity. And then I have transacted, I have booked my apartment, booked my flights, all these things through the internet. And everything has become digital. And lots of data is being generated, which actually the governments are using, and many private companies are also using. And that's what big data analytics is. And based on that, they make decisions, which is known as artificial intelligence. At the same time, this digital transformation, you can order things, you can do e-commerce, health, use it for health. Right now, we are using it for education. You can create jobs. Similarly, entertainment and communication, YouTube, Twitter, health, WhatsApp. As I said, you can even have your own channels. You can create your own following. You can be an influencer, positive influencer in the society using all these platforms. So before I move on to the next slide, do we have any questions, Sean, or any comment? By the way, you can write comments in the chat session and we will respond to that. Sean, do we have any comment?
I don't see any.
Okay.
But
So
maybe Kundararat may have something on her screen.
yes, is there any comment or any question?
It's a question from
Yes,
Facebook.
Yes.
Kuntosapon said that I have perceived that China is a leader of G5. Our telecommunication infrastructure is the bones of the 21st century, social and economic development. I wonder if China is participating in the communications of the Indonesia. I mean, maybe of ITU. Yeah.
Yeah, China is, of course, a member of ITU, because ITU, all the members who are the members of the United Nations, most of them are the members of ITU also, 193, if I'm not wrong. I mentioned that in the beginning. And beside that, we have companies from China who are also part of ITU, because ITU is not only the government, it's also the private sector. So we have Huawei, we have other companies from China, as well as the other part of the world. They are members of ITU, and all the equipment that is manufactured, no matter where it is manufactured, if it is to work on these telecommunication networks like 3G, 4G, and now 5G technologies, they have to comply to ITU standards. So they comply with ITU standards. The ITU is also working on smart sustainable cities. It is also working on smart villages. So all these things are there, and China is part of it. So is Indonesia. Okay, so let me then move on to the next part, and then we can, after that, take more questions. So what is the situation from the information communication technologies point of view in the ASEAN region? So in the ASEAN, we see that when we compare it with in this slide, you can also see the ASEAN plus 3 other countries, Korea, Japan, and China. So you can see that in most of the ASEAN countries, there is still a digital divide. So in the left side upper panel, you see the number of people who are using the internet. And in some of the countries, the number is still quite low. Even in some countries, it is below 40%. The fixed line numbers is even lower in many of the ASEAN countries. The prices are also, as you can see, quite high. In the third part, you can see fixed broadband prices are also quite high. So these are some of the challenges that are being faced. Although the economy is very big in ASEAN, right now it's at about 100, internet economy is 100 billion in 2019, and it is expected to grow to 300 billion in the next 5 years from now. So there is a requirement, but we still have a digital divide in ASEAN. So why is that so? One of the reason is that, as I mentioned in the beginning, this telecommunication sector or IC sector, it used to be in the past, like in the 90s, all these services were provided by the government. Like for example, it was like railway, which is mostly run by the government. It is like most electricity services which are mostly provided. But in the 90s, most of the companies were either the government entities were privatized and new companies, private sector entities were introduced. So this was done through regulations, and there are generations of regulations. So you can see G1 regulation, G2 regulation, G3 regulation. Right now we are at between G4 and G5 regulations. So in G4, that was, for example, the use of internet for economic activities and opening it up and so on. But in G5, what we really are looking for is to use the ICTs or the internet for across the sectors, for example, for health, education, for agriculture, and so on. And that requires some regulatory actually relaxation in those sectors also. So right now it is for that. And those countries who have good regulation and good policies for ICTs, they have grown otherwise also in the other economic sense. So let me give you the way we look at different countries. So ITU till 2017 used to have this ITU ICT Development Index, which looked at these factors that are displayed on this slide. And based on that, we would come up with the ranking of each country in the ICT. So it was known as the ICT Development Index. Right now, we are actually going through a revision. So the last data that we have is from 2017, but it gives you a rough idea of where the country is in terms of the overall world situation. So starting with, and then how it is doing in these different factors. So as you can see, Singapore, for example, is doing quite well in most of the sectors, but it is still number 18 in the world, according to ITU in ICT Development Index. And for example, in some tertiary enrollment area, it needs some improvement, although it did some improvement, that is education. And also in terms of the fixed number of lines, there is a certain lag that is there in Singapore. Then you can see in Brunei, it is lacking in quite a few, and it is number 53 in the world. So tertiary enrollment, which is enrollment in the university, the number of schooling also it needs improvement, and the fixed lines are very, very low, as you can see from this dot that we have here. Then the next in ranking is Malaysia. Again, the same thing. Tertiary education, number of year in education, and fixed line. It is number 63 in the world. Then we have Thailand. Again, similar fixed number of fixed lines are quite low. The number of schooling years as compared to the rest of the world is on the lower side. Rank is 78. Then we have Vietnam, similar kind of problem. Ranking is 108. Then we have Philippines, again, similar problems. And actually, till that in 2017, Philippines also had fewer mobile broadband subscribers. But since this year, this number will change because they got a new telecom operator also, where ITU also provided assistance to Philippines in the selection process. Then we have Indonesia, and again we have fixed line is an issue, and also we have the fixed broadband as again an issue there, as is the tertiary education. 111 is the ranking. Then Cambodia 128, similar problems. Then we have Myanmar, again 135. In one aspect, it has improved since 2017, which is the active mobile broadband users. And finally, we have Lao PDR, which is actually a landlocked country also. So their ranking is 139 in the world. So in conclusion, you can see that we have actually come a long way. So we started with telegraph, telephone. Connectivity is still an issue, and you saw that even in ASEAN, even countries like Singapore do not have enough connectivity. The use of internet worldwide is also an issue because of the skills, because of the cost, because of the kind of services that are being provided. They need to be expanded. From your point of view, being students of mass communication, internet is a very useful medium for you. You can have, as I mentioned, your own YouTube channels, your own website, your own WhatsApp groups, or line groups, or others, or WeChat groups, and then you can can actually create your own content and even develop application or get it developed for you to have your own businesses. So it's a great opportunity even for education, for example, for health related application, for education related application. Now after COVID-19 especially, this opportunity and this effectiveness has increased multifold. So I'll stop here because it was just a very introductory lecture. Maybe we can have another one in detail which will start from here and I can take you to certain advanced levels. So thank you very much. Let's see if we have questions so I can answer them.
Yes, Ajahn Nalalat, we have some questions.
Um, yes, I have a question from Facebook from Cell M Bitong. The question is, how can digitization be sustainable if at some point there is a need to disrupt to keep the pace of progress?
I did not understand the question very well. Can you repeat it? Digital
Sure.
sustainable?
Sure. The question is, how can digitization be sustainable if at some point there is a need to disrupt to keep the pace of progress?
Okay, so I mean, what I understand from this question is like, I mean, digitization itself is a cause of disruption. So I think we will have, digitization is now all the data that is generated is digital in nature anyway. So whatever you are doing, it's in digital form. And now the most important point will be in this particular case, the challenge is that how countries and individual can use it, how the country can use the data that it has for decision making. So for example, you see you have a $200 billion budget, let's say, for the country. Now, based on the data that you have collected, you have to decide where to spend it. Otherwise, if you don't have data, you will spend it on things which are not, which will not create that impact. So in the future, what is going to happen is that with all this digitization, you will have so much data that will help you in these decision processes, which will cause a disruption in the way that the progress can increase multi-fold. So I think the question probably is a little bit, I would say, not correct, because in the sense that digital itself will continue. I mean, this will have even more uses, and it will not stop. It will move forward. Any other question?
Thank you. Another question from our Facebook audience is, does ASEAN have any ongoing policies in their blueprints to narrow the digital divide within and among the region to address the challenges facing ASEAN 4.0 and 4IR?
Yes, actually ASEAN has many plans. So they recently completed their ICT development plan, and now they are working on ADM, which is the ASEAN Digital Master Plan. So they have already completed the outline of that, and we are also trying to actually be. We had also some consultation with them, and they are going to have for the next 5 year a digital master plan. So if you see, we have moved from telecom to ICT to digital now. So now the word digital is the buzzword, which actually means that everything has now been digitized, and we are not worrying about the what technology is being used and all. It's all digital data and digital applications that we have, and we need to have a plan for that. And that actually means that now the next industry, which is the industry 4.0, actually, which you have just mentioned also, is again based on all this. Basically, industry 4.0 is based on what is known as cyber physical system, which means that you have the internet or cyber world that is connected with the physical world. So for example, in the previous times, even we still have it, but like it's changing slowly. Like the taxi system was all offline, it was mainly manual. Now it is online, but it is actually a physical service that is provided to you, and it is through the internet. Similarly, e-commerce, similarly ordering food. Similarly, you will see that the healthcare facilities will be online. Even nowadays, for example, in many hospitals, the doctors, even if the patient is in the next room, they are seeing them through a video conferencing system to maintain social distancing. So all these things are going into the real world, in the world that we live in, and the two worlds are now coming closer to each other. But of course, we need many policies around that. And since we are talking about policies, so I'll just display to you, and then maybe later on I can share this information with you, the challenges that are there in the new world that we live in from the policy point of view. So just to share with you the one of the slides. So I didn't want to burden you too much, but these are, you see, all the ICT related or data related challenges. So you can see from the point of view of digital data, you can see data privacy, cross-border data protection, content regulation, taxation, cross-sectoral regulation, consumer protection. These are all the regulatory issues that relates to data now. So previously, for example, when we were working, looking at the ICT sector, we were saying, okay, spectrum, right of way, connecting people. But when we do all those things, then we move into these issues. How can we have the data not go beyond our borders? How can, or if it goes, there has to be some protections. So for example, in Europe, you have this GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation. So these kind of things are now coming up in the world. These new issues we have to address as we move. So I mean, there are many complications as I mentioned, but the thing is we have to start from somewhere. So the ASEAN Digital Master Plan actually has this component in there. Okay. Any other question?
Yeah, I think it's very informative, Dr. Ismail. And then finally, your sharing with us is very confirmed that telecom is a combination for all in kinds of telecom application and technologies and any kinds of in totally to be digitization in kinds of ICT. So that is belong to our same world. So we have the question participation from our student from Singapore. Please,
Okay,
Kunmala.
please. Yes, please.
Okay.
Good evening, instructor. Good morning, instructor.
Okay.
Did you hear me? Do you hear
Yes,
me?
yes,
Yes.
yes, yes.
Yes. The sound is clear. So I would like to ask some questions about what are the challenges of ITU. Meanwhile, the world is entering the 5G era and the artificial intelligence or AI will play an information role in people's work and life, and then how the telecommunication system in the future will be.
Okay, I think it's a very good question. It's not only a challenge for ITU, but for every one of us, because you see, the technology is developing at a very fast pace. So you mentioned about 5G, and I told you that it's about high data rate, and then it's about uh, low latency applications, like for example, driverless cars or the autonomous cars. But then the new challenges that are coming up are related to these new technologies. Just to give you an example, let's say if your autonomous car is being driven, so it will be governed by an algorithm, right, which will make decisions. What if it kills a person in an accident? So who would be responsible? In that case, will it be the algorithm, or will it be, so these are the ethical issues that, and what kind of design should go into the algorithm, that when it is faced with a situation, what should it do? The car do? Like as human being, we make a decision at that point. Okay, there are like, let's say if you have to hit 10 people and one person will probably hit the one, but even so that's one challenge. And the other challenge is like once you have this data, then people can use it for anything. So for example, artificial intelligence ones can be used for bad things also. So there
Oh,
is but ITU is what it's trying to do is that ITU is trying to promote what we call the artificial intelligence for good. So if you do a search, we have several an initiative also known as AI for good. So we would like the AI, for example, to be used for the betterment of the societies of the people. The third thing that is happening is that there are several independent platforms that are there and they use their own data. They are not under the regulation of the government or anyone. So they need to be more transparent on the use of data and all that. So these are all the newer challenges that are coming up. But at the same time, what ITU is focusing on is that okay, we would like to have IoT, like to have AI, like to have the connectivity, but it should be for the betterment of the society, not like, for example, making it even worse for people. So these technological advances should help. So like one of the initiative, for example, that we talk about is smart. You may have heard smart cities, but we don't say smart cities. We say smart, sustainable cities. So where you also take into account the uh, the sustainability part. You may have a smart city, but they may run out of water in 5 years. So what will you do in that case? So you have to make your city smart and sustainable. Similarly, we are also in parallel, we are talking about the concept of smart villages. You provide the services even if they are living in villages at their doorstep, so they don't have to overcrowd the cities. So it has to be a holistic approach that we are trying to advocate, and also the usage for good. So that's the main challenge: how to keep people focused to use or develop the technology in this direction. The other factor is the technology itself. For example, specifically with 5G, it's a very intensive investment intensive uh, you know uh, initiative. So what kind of support is the government willing to provide in terms of, for example, spectrum, in terms of right of way? It can impose conditions on it that you need to do coverage and all, but like what kind of incentives are there for operators to deploy newer technologies? So it's a very good
thank you.
question.
Okay,
Yeah, you're welcome.
thank you. This is very useful.
Yeah.
Okay. Who else that would like to share? Yeah, I think Dr. Ismail, your speak is very comprehensive and very holistically that our audience, our student can see the holistic roadmap of the ITU to the betterment of the human being. You also mentioned very clear about the kinds of the not only the smart city, smart human being, but it has to be sustainable. So
Yeah.
let me ask you about the SDG. ITU have to cover all the SDG, 17 SDG, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So actually, if you see, the SDGs can only be met if we have the information communication technologies. Right now, and this pandemic actually showed you that you cannot do much unless you have a good ICT network. So I think it should become a priority for all the countries, not only the network, but related policies, related skills, and all. Like and also during the recovery process, all those people who were just doing things in the physical world, how will they adjust to the new way of working?
Yeah. And then since you are based in Indonesia, do you have any challenge of digital divide in the Indonesian country?
Yeah, it is here. I mean, because Indonesia, as you know, it has so many islands which are hard to reach. So the challenge is there, but actually the solution that we are working on, which is the smart village approach, that actually covers many of these challenges. So even if you have a connectivity issue, we can still deploy that solution or that approach that we have. which will provide the services to the village people. You see, in worst case, if you don't have any connectivity, you can always have satellite, right? Because you are in the footprint of any one satellite at least. Now the problem is that it is expensive connectivity. So, but then the thing is, like, if you provide local kind of services there, local servers and services, then you need the connectivity for shorter times. And then you can build up local communities who can actually communicate usually, and many of the essential services are on the servers. And from time to time, that server updates with new information. So we are now trying to come up with information, with the system or plan which will fit in any situation, whether there is little connectivity, no connectivity, good connectivity, and so on, while we keep on improving the connectivity. And the thing is that we would not like anyone to be left behind, no matter where they live.
Yeah, that is very beautiful. So
Yes.
on behalf of the ASEAN citizen, we do have a very sweet dream tonight to have you to ITU is like our sunshine, right? Because we can link all the people in all the member state where nobody can be left behind. So better quality, better policy, better regulation provided by the ITU will be our hope.
Yes.
So tonight, any reflection from our faculty staff at Tandalalat, you might have some reflection, please.
Um, Thank you, Dr. Kumonrat. Not really a reflection, but I just would like to ask for a little bit more of clarification. Before you end the presentation, Dr. Ismail, you mentioned about the outbreak of coronavirus that is really like a disrupt um, the way we are living right now. It's just like it speed up the telecommunication landscape. Can you explain a little bit more what kind of pictures we are going to see in the near future?
Okay,
Great.
so the first thing that actually this COVID showed us was that whatever there can be things which actually that don't know borders. It can impact anyone in the world. So we are living together in this world. So it doesn't mean that if one country progresses, that is enough. So we have to look at our neighbors. We have to look at all the other countries. So in that respect, I think in this region we have to look at the whole ASEAN as a whole, at least at the ASEAN, maybe even beyond that. So we have to take everyone along. The second thing that you see that some of the issues, some of the things would be permanently disrupted. One of the things that I believe would be permanently disrupted would be the way we work. So you'll have more work from home because some of the operations, some of the companies, some of the businesses have realized that they actually really don't need an office, or they don't need a big office at least. So people can stagger and people will be more receptive to for their employees to work from home. That's number one. A second thing that has happened is that some of the industries were hard hit, like the aviation industry, the restaurant, the hotel, the tourism. So now they also would be thinking about other kind of ways to revive them. So, for example, for tourism, one of the way where digital technologies can help would be the virtual reality and the augmented reality, where you can actually have special kind of goggles and dress where you get immersed into the virtual world, but it feels like you are in the real world. So those type of things, and then the ordering thing online, e-commerce activities, that will also increase because people have gotten used to it now. People in previously would wanted to go to shopping centers and all, but now they will move more towards these areas, and new services will also emerge in different countries and cities. But the most important point that I like to emphasize is that no one should be left behind within your own country, and then in your neighboring country, then eventually the world. And also you saw that, I mean, there were negative sides to it, but a positive side is that you also got this the environment got some breathing space. So the world is, the air quality, I believe, in Jakarta has improved. I think in Bangkok it would also have improved. So these type of things maybe we can try to have it on permanent basis, try to find solution where we can continue somehow, more online thing, combination of online, offline. So this is what I believe will happen. And actually, it has also helped to keep many people insane, because you see, we are still able to communicate and see each other through video conferencing. Imagine if these facilities were not there and you are in isolation, what will happen?
Very good. Very good. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Dr. Ismail, your talking is very touching me tonight. Your speech is always touching on the humanism, right? Even
Yes,
though you are the telecom people, you are like from the engineer world, but your answer is always touching on the human base. You're touching about SDG, you're touching about nobody left behind, you're touching about we are living together wherever you are. We need our telecom system need to touch all the people and go together. And the last point that is touching me is yes, even the negative of the COVID-19, also the positive that the better air pollution in Jakarta, also in Bangkok, and
yes,
all in ASEAN region.
yes,
That's very touching. Yes.
yes.
And then we have our student from the medical side, nursing. She also the interest in kind of migration. You also has any concern about the telecom system that is impact to the kinds of migration in the region or not? Kind of that. Any kinds of human trafficking, migration, labor migration, kind of that. Have you concern about this?
Yes, so I mean, there are concerns from several point of view. Those who, for example, are migrating, they may not have access to the, like for example, there are many workers who are stuck in the cities because they were doing work which was related to the physical world. They were not, and they don't have the connectivity because maybe because of their legal status or affordability or so many other things. Uh, so that's one thing. But at the same time, there was another concern which the government had actually. And the government had concern, let's say, for example, in Jakarta, in Indonesia, initially, Jakarta was worst hit. Now, if people moved from Jakarta to the regions, that could have caused problems. So they stopped them, and they also kind of tried to, through different applications, track their movement so that they can be isolated, or they can be at least be in touch or communicated. So in that respect also, it is important that we have, as I said, we are living in a joint world. So like even a poor, let's say a person who is not able to afford ICTs and he get infected and he doesn't have a phone, you cannot track him or her. So that will also create a problem for all the others. So we have to begin now, after this crisis. I believe every one of us, I mean, that should have been in the beginning, but at least after the crisis, we should keep the humans at the top, human values, and all these other things should serve the humans rather than, we becoming slaves of the technology, or this thing or that thing. And actually, maybe the nature is showing that to us, that you should actually, respect each other, respect the human life, because whether it is a rich person, poor person, when they get the disease, they get the disease. There is nothing they can do about it. So I think from ICT point of view, I believe that everyone need to have access, not only for their own sake, but for other people's sake also. And they should be trained, they should have the skills, they should also have right to have good life by using ICTs. So we should not keep anyone away from ICTs.
Yes. Okay. Very proud of you on behalf of our academia world. And then we are very proud that. And then I would like to repeat to all the audience in this broadcasting that ITU has done a very holistically development in using ICT in kinds of development. And then we are very proud to be a part of your activity in kinds of marginalized empowerment by ICT in the Girls ICT Day. That's We have involved with that about 7 years back, kind of that. So we are very proud and very happy and very honored to be a member of ITU, right? So if no question and the time is a little bit red, so on behalf of the faculty members, student, and all the audience, we would be very honored to say the gratitude. Thanks to you all, Dr. Ismail. With the effective technology, we can meet and be friends for tonight. And then we have a very super supporter, Mr. Chong and Miss Ruri from Indonesia also. So we do hope that in this coming future, we will see each other in face to face and make a betterment for the human being by the telecom system and ICT. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Dr. Kamara. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Good night. See you around, Dr.
Yeah.
Ismail. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, so it's come up to our real world again. Albert, how are you? Tony. So for tonight's session about telecom, tonight's session telecom is Dr. Ismail is the director of the Jakarta office, telecom ITU office in Jakarta, Indonesia. And then they came as a team. They came three, Mr. Chong and Miss Ruri and Dr. Ismail. So for tonight, have you got anything that is extra from Archis that given you the clip in the Moodle? What is the have you got more understanding about it or any further discussion about it? Would, I, would you like to discuss something more? You gain
So
more understanding.
yes, I gain more understanding about the ITU, but I really don't know how ITU support support our region, support the support our region, like what are they support, or they build some construction, or they build some system to our region. These are like
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Your question is how ICT support the world. I would say that how ICT support the world, how ICT support the region. Actually, from the role of ITU has a mission to taking care of telecom for the growth. So the headquarter is in Geneva, right? They said, and then let me share you the PowerPoint, and then I will point up in some particular point, then might be clarify you more. Let's see. This is the PowerPoint of Mr. Ajit, right? ITU
yes,
actually
yes.
ITU is for the world, but for the explanation of the Ajit is he tried to focus on the Asia Pacific. ASEAN is the Asia, right? So the mission of ITU is telecom, ICT, and digitization or digital transformation, same word. And then the duty of ITU is they have to take care three. three parts of this. First one is the spectrum. Second one is the regulation, and the third one is empowerment in kinds of reduce the digital divide. So this is the mission of ITU, and then ITU have to taking care the mission of committed to connecting the world. This is the mission of ITU. So this is the reason why Dr. Ismail trying to say that nobody left behind. Everyone have to be connected. So this is the mission of ITU. And ITU have to taking care the all the country, but they have to apply as a member. So let me ask you all that how many country in the world now? Chandalalat, do you have any idea that how many country in the world now?
I'm not sure, but I can check quickly.
Actually, it's about 200 something. If we include some island in the Pacific, that will be about 200 something. But if not, it will be about 200. So meaning that ITU is taking
195.
care. Yeah. How many?
195.
195.
Yes. Yes. So you can imagine that ITU has to be globally service or the country. So this is the answer to you. And then the next one is they have separate, they're working to cover all the global coverage area. So the meaning that you just imagine that they have only about five regional office and Bangkok. Bangkok is also one among the main regional office. But you just imagine that the ITU is located in Thailand as a regional office, meaning that a big office, but not many of Thai people know about the ITU. And then we pay a lot of money for incentive of this ITU. So this is the reason why we need to make a benefit from ITU. If not, our government will pay money and then Thai people get none benefit from that. And then Dr. Ismail is based in this blue one. Jakarta is the area base, right? So this is the answer to you that Kunwala that they will have the cluster area to give the service area in their own cluster, right? And then the next one is besides from the region, they also cluster the country into each particular contextualization. For example, like in this gray area. In this gray area is the island. The island is very difficult in accessibility and connectivity. So I think you have to connect them because as being the human being in this globe, they need to be connected. So ITU is also pay attention to the island country and also the least development country like Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, this side, and then the low income state like Mongolia, Pakistan, uh, and then the less beside from the low income is this green area. So they have clustered the country, the area, and then they have to taking care of the connectivity, right? And then they have segment their policy into like for the global priority. Global priority, they have segment in this. International Collaboration Agreement on the Telecom and ICT, modern ICT infrastructure, enabling environment, and inclusive digital society. So meaning that even though they jump ahead for the advanced technology, but they also need to include all the people into the under the inclusive policy, and then they stick to the SDG development plan. And then for the regional, for example, ASEAN is under kinds of the least development country. So the focusing from ITU is more on kinds of the answer special need and drive economy and drive inclusive digital society. and also build up the digital infrastructure kind of that. Along the way, they also have to develop kinds of regulation and policy. The policy that the ITU has been very famous is the USO or USO. USO meaning that Universal Social Obligation นะภาษาไทยเราเรียกว่ากองทุนยูโซก็คือเป็นภาษีที่เก็บจากองค์กรด้านที่ให้บริการด้านเทเลคอมเหมือนสสสเก็บจากธุรกิจที่มีภาษีที่ทำแอลกอฮอล์ So if any business that doing about the telecom service provider like through AIS, BBB or something, they need to pay back in a user fee. User fee will accumulate to be user fund and then give back to fill up the digital divide, right? I will just have a quick wrap up to you because it's very broad for you. So the ITU have to stick to the SDG plan. So meaning that I just asked Dr. Ismail to confirm that is the ITU has to facilitate all the 17 SDG because SDG has the 17 indicator. So meaning that ITU as a digital tool, they have to facilitate all kinds of SDG. For example, you see that this is the infrastructure from the smart city to be the application that one have to include the environment and infrastructure and innovation, this one. And then this is kind of technology empowerment. This kind of statistic, ITU has the duty to see the statistic in all the country member and then classify it to be the developed, underdeveloped, developing kind of that. So this is kind of statistic that they have, and they have set up the mapping to see overall. So meaning that the one of the expertise of the ITU is the satellite system or the marine cable kind of that. So meaning that wherever you are connected, not maybe by the satellite system or maybe by the cable or by the pipe or kind of that. And then under our region, the ITU also focusing on kinds of the application that is applied to the betterment of human being, like the smart farming, digital finance, mobile health, and smart digital city, something. And then this is example that they use in farming, in finance, in kind of. And then this is the analytic of ITU. You say that the analytic of ITU, that ITU has the duty to facilitate all kinds of development, hunger, disaster, kind of that. But this kind of color fragile, you see, it's fragile because the government cannot address all SDG. So meaning that, for example, like in your ministry or in the Thai government, the Thai government seem to be not so aware about the SDG development goal, kind of that. So that is the challenge of ITU and SDG also. For example, this is how they apply, you see. The second SDG is hunger. No more hunger in the world. ทุกคนจะต้องมีอาหารกิน How ITU will facilitate? They do the data management, they do the big data, and then they do the kinds of ITU digitalization to facilitate, to reduce the hunger, to reduce the sanitary water, kind of that. So this is the example that ITU use. And then if you see this one, ITU can be integrated into all kinds of this application like content management, data collection, AI, terminology, mobility, workflow, and kind of e-learning, payment, security. So So this is the how ITU use the digitalization to facilitate all the activity that is connected to human being. So this is our activity that our research center Mosoto SCU has involved. This is our research center. We are the one that drive ICT for the ICT for the girls and young women empowerment in the growth with other region of the growth, you see. So by this year, by the COVID-19, we will do it online, kind of that. So this is kind of the one of the duty of the regulation is the one of the duty of the ITU is build up policy and regulation. As I used to remember, as I used to raise the example to you that in the past 30 years back, if you want to have the mobile phone, it's very difficult for you because it's very expensive. Because the one that can provide you the telecom service is just only TOT or kind of that. But ITU see this kind of monopolization การผูกขาดระบบเทเลคอมของประเทศไทย so ITU has set up the regulation to our government to decline this kind of monopolization. So that's come up to be the disruptive of mobile penetration in Thailand. So the ITU link with your question by set up policy and regulation for all the member country to follow. So this is the plan, the roadmap that ICT put it in each particular country. You see that in some country there is very prone in kinds of cyber security. ITU will put up some policy on that, and then one among the famous of ITU is the telecom for the disaster for emergency, kind of that, like the storm, the earthquake, tsunami, this kind of thing. That is the function of ITU because they have the expertise in satellite system. So this is the example of the disaster in especially among the island country that we have very often of disaster. So ITU has a duty to help that. Yeah, and then this is about the kinds of the priority in each region. This is the global. So ITU has set up the ITU Academy then to educate people of the growth, and then in each region they also have their own particular issue that. And then you see this table is very interesting. This one, ITU trying to do some kind of decentralization, you see, and then they try to set up the participation among the member country and trying to decentralize the power of ITU into each country in the region. For example, like in ASEAN, Malaysia being kind of the expertise center or the center of excellence in the wireless communication center in Korea, Asia. National Information Society ICT application in Iran, IoT Academy. So the many times that I'm trying to ask them, what about Thailand? Why don't you select Thailand to set up to be one among the center of excellence because we are located ITU as a regional office? Still no answer. Right, so this is the critical point that like meaning that we Thailand, we still cannot have the capability to have the leading roles in kinds of telecom system when compared to Malaysia and compared to other country, right? So this is kind of the HRD or empowering of the ITU that they have done every year. And then when we talk about the ASEAN ICT Master Plan that Dr. Ismail has shared with you, they are the one that's being one among the partner to draft up kinds of ICT Master Plan. Okay, and then this is just only some part of the forum, ministry forum, that minister forum that talk about ITU and about the or the minister from each country to talk about the regulation. For example, you see that USO, universal service obligation. Universal service obligation in Thailand right now, the one that's taking care of this fund is GSTC, or NBTC, National Broadcasting Telecom Commission, right? Uh, if you can see the example of other countries, for example, like India, South Korea, Malaysia, Philippines, they have done a very effective user fund. They use a very effective fund to empowering the ICT to their country. So that is the reason why their country is really jump ahead compared to Thailand. We Thai people don't know this kind of universal service obligation. So that is a pity. So in detail, a lot of detail in this, I can talk with you later on. So actually, ITU itself has a very limited staff, and then they also seek for the partnership, and then their partnership is also industry, Huawei, you see, Intel, kind of that, and also partnership in kinds of UN agency by themselves, and partnership in kinds of the academia, and partnership in kinds of policy and regulation agency. You see that this is a Ministry of DE, and this is NBTC, GSTC. This is a policy kind of that. So this is the overview idea about the telecom. So my research center, we have worked with ITU for long, and then ITU is trying to plug in kinds of the regional or center of excellence in Thailand, but the Thai government quite passive in this kind of, so that make Thai people lose the benefit in this one. Okay, some question from your side, please.
Thank
So,
you, Ajahn Kamal. I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
Yes.
Okay. So you mean Thailand under the ITU law, when we would like to use the magnetic wave, we just ask ITU to permission us to use it, right?
Yes, we have the level in Thailand. The one that taking care of the telecom system is NBTC, GSTC, and GSTC work with the ITU. ITU work with the ASEAN regional ICT master plan, and ASEAN regional work with the other 6 region of the globe. So there is the clause, there is the clause sector to control each other. So during that time, Dr. Thaksin Shinawatra is the prime minister that time. Thailand has no Ministry of ICT, and then ITU said, your country is very high, a great level of high risk of digital divide. At that time, you might imagine that at that time in the remote rural area, not only no internet, no computer, no electricity, right? And then Thaksin was saying that we need to have this kind of Ministry of ICT. So he set up, and then he is the one that distribute computer desktop to to the remote. That make it happen, kind of that. Yeah. So meaning that the ITU will get the statistic every year. Because as you still remember, Dr. Ismail saying that they have 9 indicators, right? The fixed line, the mobile line, the household, internet kind of that. They check it every year, and then after that they get the ranking. Wow, Lao PDR, you are under the line of the index. Thailand, you are under the line of the index. For example, like now Thailand is under the index of human trafficking in Thailand. Human trafficking, and I think that maybe the wildlife of Ajandala. So that is the duty of UN to point out that you are under harm of this one. Okay, Chandala, you might share something. Yeah.
No, not really. That's true. All those issue. Yeah, it's really true. Before it's getting late, I just if you don't mind, I would like to hear some comments from Konkanok and also Suchat if they have any. Yeah. Mm.
Everyone have to know telecom. You need to understand telecom because once you use mobile phone, meaning that you use telecom. Okay. So one reflection, please.
Connie, Suchat. Mm.
I think that there are a lot of people that is without that are without higher speed internet. So I think digital device is very important issue that we have to cope with. Yeah.
Okay.
Government have to distribute tablet or something like that to people.
Distribute tablet. Tablet now is only 2,000 baht, huh? 1,000 baht something, huh?
Oh.
Okay, Connie.
Yes, may I mention in terms of my careers about consultation about between doctor and I mean a new doctor and specialty. We use mobile phone, smartphone. That is I mean is faster than before because doctor can share the image, share video to consult its specialty about patients. It is very beneficial. Mm-hmm. But that is quite a sensitive for relations. I mean, when doctor consult or talk on the phone, relations don't understand why doctor do nothing, why don't treat the patient, something like that. That is a lack of explanation for the relations.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I think that in the medical world that you have used a lot of telecom system, right? Even though in the operating, you also use a lot of digitization to make it happen. In India, I used to have the direct experience with the telemedicine in India because the doctor percentage of the doctor is very limited compared to the billion population, right? So the government also has no budget. So the government is very smart. So they tap the hands with the private service provider, for example, AIS through, and then set the satellite up in the sky, and then from the satellite signal, the doctor from New Delhi can use the spectrum from the satellite to cover the medical service to the local medical in the area that is very remote, and then that local medical doctor in the local area or even the nurse, they use the spectrum from the New Delhi capital town to service the long line of the people in the village, kind of that. So that is very practical, meaning that the telecom is very essential for our human being, but our Thai government or our education is not quite pay attention to the telecom. For example, we are sitting here above us. How many satellites that is above us? How many cable line in the ocean, in the under the ground? Thai people don't know about this. So meaning that the whatever happening up in our natural resources like the crude oil in น้ำมันดิบ crude oil in the กำแพงเพชร what บางกระบือ or something. There's so many crude oil that many country already know. Whatever in Thailand, even the herb, the indigenous kind of that, all the country they knows. What Thai people don't know. Because the satellite system, I think Kunwala has the idea. The satellite system, they have a different layer of penetration. มีรัศมีการแทงลงมา in any depth of penetration. So they can see that in the Gulf of Thailand, อ่าวไทย how much crude oil that we have, how much gas that we have, that's kind of, but Thai people don't know. So this is the damage, you know. So for example, if the UN agency, they located in our country, we spend a lot. We spend for the land, we spend for any kinds of, Ajandaralat, she work with UN, she know this one. So Ajandaralat, I would like you to share about the UN system to our student too.
You mean the way they work here?
Yeah, kind of. So because for example, like ITU regional in Thailand, our government donate a lot. We have to pay a lot as a membership. But
I think it's like a 1 million. If we look at like the Thai baht, 1 million baht a year for ITU as a membership fee. Yeah, very expensive. Yeah.
Very expensive, but no return back. You see, right?
We don't see much. Yeah.
Yeah, if we don't know them, we pay a lot.
Yeah.
So this is the reason why we need to do push up all the Thai people to speak and learn English, because we can fight with them, you know. We can seek information, we can literate with them. เราจะรู้ทันเขาเนี่ยนะคะ
I never known ITU before until I went to work with UNESCO, because just like a their mandate, at some point they have to work together in terms of like information policy, ICT, etc. But before that, I mean, if I didn't jump into this field, I would never know ITU at all.
Yeah, and then they are very powerful, you know. Actually, there is a lot of sensitive story between ITU and NBTC กสทช about user fund, that if there is a very well management of the user fund in Thailand, like South Korea, Philippines, Malaysia, Myanmar, our Thai will be well developed more than this. You just imagine that สสส กองทุนสสส right? ยูสูบบุหรี่1 ตัว ดื่มลิโพ 1 ขวดtax back แล้วก็เอามาให้คนเต้น เอามาออกกำลังกายมาอะไรเงี้ย มันก็ได้ แต่ยูส่งแมสเสจทีนึง3 บาท ยูอะไรก็แล้วแต่ ทุกอย่างนี้จะต้องถูกเก็บเป็นเปอร์เซ็นต์ 2-4% 2-4% and they left to the user fund. And you know how much user fund now is a billion. Is a billion that NBTC sits on top of that. And you just imagine that I work a lot with NBTC. Whenever I work with them, they request for the 5-star hotel. That in 5-star hotel you need to have the golf course. You have to have 5-star restaurant. You have to book me the first class airplane. Oh my God, that is you so fun.
Yeah.
So this is my bitter in heart, you know. India and South Korea. In the last 30 years, 25 years back, I went to South Korea. They are the farm-based country like Thailand, but the government used user fund and policy to make a turning point to use ICT to drive the development in that country. Taiwan also one among the good example in using a very effective user fund. So this is the reason why the user fund is very secret, because Thai people don't know much about ITU and NBTC. That is the tragedy โศกนาฏกรรมนะอันนี้เป็นเรื่องที่ยากเลยเพราะว่าเขาไม่ได้ให้เรารู้อ่ะคนไทยสักกี่คนรู้จักกสทช.สุชาติรู้จักกสทช.ไหมรู้จักว่าไง
ก็ทำงานเกี่ยวกับเรื่องของเป็นการทีวีโทรคมนาคมอะไรพวกนี้ครับที่เป็นประมาณนี้
ก็เอาเงินไปคือมีแต่เงินเข้าเพราะว่าเขาขายสเปกตรัม
ขึ้นความถี่
ใช่
ไม่ประมูลเลขสวยอะไรมันเก็บ
เขาดังตอนประมูลเนี่ยก็ดังเหมือนกันทำให้เราได้รู้จัก
อันนั้นแต่เขาทำหน้าที่ไม่ครบไงหน้าที่ของ NBTC ก็คือต้องทำงานกับ ITU แล้วก็ set regulation set policy อย่างเช่นว่าเซาท์โคเรียหรือในญี่ปุ่นเนี่ย policy เขาจะเซตว่าคนอายุ70ใช้อินเทอร์เน็ตฟรีหรือว่าเวลาไปซื้อซิมได้ลดราคาหรือได้ซิมฟรีอะไรเงี้ยถ้าเกิดที่ประเทศไทยที่เคยทำเนี่ยก็คือเขาเอาเงินยูโซฟันไปซื้อตู้โทรศัพท์TOT ไปซื้อตู้โทรศัพท์แล้วไปวางไว้ตามหมู่บ้านอันนั้นที่เราเห็นเนี่ยแล้วก็มันก็เป็นตู้ที่ทิ้งร้างนึกออกไหมนั่นแหละอันนั้นคือเงินยูโซหรือว่าแจกซิมฟรีตามที่ต่างๆเนี่ยได้มาใช้กันเป็นไม่เป็นนั่นเงินยูโซศูนย์อินเทอร์เน็ตตามที่ต่างๆที่ทิ้งร้างเป็นที่หลายที่ทำเป็นที่เลี้ยงเห็ดเพาะเห็ดเนี่ยเอาศูนย์อินเทอร์เน็ตเงินยูโซฟันไปนั่นคือสิ่งที่มันเกิดขึ้นนะมันหลายอย่างทำงานกันไม่เป็น so this is the failure of user fund management and the telecom system in Thailand. I used to discuss with the staff of the NBTC. They asked me that Ajahn, how much is the internet access for the remote community or for the community? 500 is okay per month. I said that 500 is still very expensive. And he said, 500 is expensive. No, it's a very small money. He said, but I said, small money for you, but for them is they can eat a whole family, kind of that, you know, because they are very high soul, you know, the telecom people have that. So this is the reason why our telecom system in Thailand has slow. Then Thaksin unlock the monopolization of the telecom ถ้าพวกเรายังจำได้ตอนเด็กๆเนี่ยถ้าใครได้ทำงาน TOT เนี่ยมันหรูเท่ใช่ไหมโบนัสเยอะเงินเดือนสูงเพราะว่ามันผูกขาดไงฮะผูกขาดที่เดียวพอปลดล็อก ITU มาปลดล็อกรัฐบาลปลดล็อกปุ๊บแทนที่มันจะมีแค่TOT มันก็จะมี3 broadband smart อะไรต่างๆแล้วก็เป็นล่าสุดนี่ที่ได้ก็คือ True แต่พอมันเป็น freely competition ปุ๊บปรากฏว่ามันก็น่าจะมี error in process อีก True ฟาดเรียบอีกนึกออกไหมพอ True เขาฉลาดเนี่ย True เขาฉลาดเขาก็คือเขากิน infrastructure ทั้งหมดเขาก็สามารถดูดได้ทั้งระบบ broadcast ระบบทีวีดิจิตอลระบบ education ทุกระบบเลยแม้แต่ระบบ payment e-commerce อะไรต่างๆเทเลคอมมันคุมหมดไงเทเลคอมคุมหมดตอนนี้ True เนี่ยคุมหมดเท่ากับ True เนี่ยกินประเทศไทยไปแล้ว
and True is part of CP
True is CP
ผม
CP is อะไรค่ะ
everything
ผมขออนุญาตถามในภาษาไทยได้ไหมครับคืออย่างกรณีนี้ครับผมยกตัวอย่างการทำผิดของไทยอย่างเช่นกรณีการค้ามนุษย์บังคับใช้แรงงานซึ่งทางองค์กรอื่นอย่างสหประชาชาติHuman Watch Light หรือว่า EU หรือว่าครับหรือว่าอเมริกาเขาจะแบนเราลงโทษเราว่าเฮ้ยคุณไม่ทำตามกฎหมายระหว่างประเทศหรือคุณปล่อยให้มีการละเลยนี้คุณจะโดนแบนอย่างนี้แล้วอย่างเช่นถ้าเรามามองถึง ITU นี่ครับซึ่งเป็นหน่วยงานระดับโลกเนี่ย under UN เนี่ยแล้วเราไปไม่ follow ตาม regulation เขาเนี่ยเขามีสิทธิ์ที่จะแบนว่าเอ้ยอย่างนี้คุณห้ามทำ1 2 3 4 5เพราะว่าอยู่ทำผิดกฎแล้วจะเกิดผลเสียต่อไทยเขาสามารถทำได้ไหมครับ
เดี๋ยวตอบก่อนเดี๋ยวอาจารย์แหม่มตอบด้วยนะคือในการรวมกันเป็น United Nation เนี่ยนะสหประชาชาติเนี่ยมัน control กันด้วย negotiation control กันด้วย agreement มันเหมือน Asean Community เนี่ยมัน control กันด้วย agreement ด้วย negotiation เหมือนกันเพราะนั้นเวลาที่มีการรายงานในช่วงนั้นเนี่ยอาจารย์อยู่ในยุคของ Digital Divide Thailand เนี่ยเขาป้ายขีดแดงเลยประเทศไทยเป็นประเทศที่ Digital Divide สุ่มเสี่ยงสูงที่สุดมันก็คือเป็นการประจานกันทั่วโลกนี่คะทั่วโลกมีกับ200ประเทศเนี่ยประเทศไทยค้ามนุษย์แดง Digital Divide แดงคอร์รัปชันแดงมันจะอยู่ได้ไหมนะอันนี้คือหนึ่งก็คือมันเหมือนเป็น social sanction น่ะ social sanction มันดูแลกำกับกันดูแลอะไรต่างเหมือนอยู่อย่างอาจารย์เนี่ยเป็นอย่างโคนี่เนี่ยเป็นคนหน้าตาดีเนี่ยเมื่อ 2-3 ปีก่อนหรือแม้แต่ช่วงนี้เนี่ยไปประเทศไหนบางทีต้องโดนตรวจแล้วตรวจอีกหาว่าไปค้าประเวณีเพราะว่าค้ามนุษย์ประเทศไทยโสเภณีเยอะนู่นนี่นั่นนี่คือ image เป็น social sanction ที่มันเกิดขึ้นในขณะเดียวกันเขาก็จะบีบด้วย regulation ที่ตกลงกันมันเป็น regional regulation global regulation เพราะนั้นในอาเซียนเนี่ยณตอนนี้ประเทศไหนที่มีความพร้อมมากที่สุดในเรื่องเทเลคอมปรากฏว่ามหาเดชโมฮัมหมัดบอกกับบิลเกตเลยให้มาปักหมุดบ้านฉันทำเป็นดิจิทัลคอริดอร์บ้านฉันทั้งที่มีอยู่นิดเดียวอ่ะมันคือวิสัยทัศน์แล้วมันเป็นการเร็วความอะไรต่างๆอย่างเงี้ยนะเพราะนั้นมันเป็นการแข่งกันอินคายพอบิลเกตมาลงที่มาเลปุ๊บโปรแกรมในการ empowerment ต่างๆก็ลงไปคนของเขาก็ฉลาดขึ้นเพราะนั้นถ้าถามว่ามันเป็นกฎหมายที่แบบว่าไม่ทำได้ไหมไม่ทำก็ได้แต่ว่าส่วนใหญ่มันก็ต้องทำแต่จะช้าจะเร็วเหมือนอย่างเช่น UN บอกพม่าว่าแกต้องรับโรฮิงญาแกต้องนู่นต้องนี่ก็ฉันไม่รับอ่ะอะไรเงี้ยก็คือบางอย่างมันรับได้รับไม่ได้บางอย่างมันเทคไทม์แต่ท้ายที่สุดเนี่ยมันต้องเดินไปด้วยกันอย่างเงี้ยนะคะอาเซียนคอมมูนิตี้ก็เหมือนกันเหมือนเราต้องร่วมมือกันในกลุ่ม Member Country เนี่ยแต่เราก็ต้องมีอะไรนะมีกติการ่วมกัน UN ก็เหมือนกันแหม่มเชิญค่ะ
เดี๋ยวแหม่มเติมนิดนึงนะคะเมื่อกี้ตรงที่พูดถึงด้วยความที่แต่ละประเทศมันหลากหลายเนาะเพราะฉะนั้นเนี่ยการมีกฎร่วมกันเนี่ยมันเป็นการช่วยให้อยู่ร่วมกันอย่างสันติแล้วก็เดินหน้าไปด้วยกันได้เมื่อกี้อาจารย์พูดถึงเรื่องของ social sanction อีกเคสหนึ่งที่จะยกให้เห็นคืออย่างเรื่องของไทยเนี่ยนอกจากแบบอย่างนี้นะคะเราเคยถูกแบนเรื่องการค้ากล้วยไม้สมัยก่อนเพราะบอกว่าประเทศไทยเนี่ยค้ากล้วยไม้อย่างผิดกฎหมายเนี่ยส่งออกทั่วโลกเพราะว่ากล้วยไม้ไทยเป็นที่นิยมมาก แล้วนานาประเทศเนี่ยคือไทยเนี่ยเข้าไปเป็นสมาชิกไปลงนามนะคะในสนธิสัญญาที่เขาเรียกว่าไซเตสคือการค้าขายพืชป่าสัตว์ป่าที่ถูกกฎหมายในระหว่างประเทศเนาะแต่ว่าพอไทยเนี่ยเริ่มมีการแบบลักลอบส่งออกส่งค้าเนี่ยนะคะไซเตสก็เตือนครั้งที่1ยังไม่ทำพอครั้งที่2เขาก็บอกว่าถ้ายังไม่ทำตามนะจะต้องมีการแบนนะแล้วก็มีการแบนจริงๆก็จะไม่ประเทศไทยก็จะไม่สามารถที่จะกล้วยไม้ต่างๆที่ผลิตออกมาเนี่ยส่งขายเมืองนอกไม่ได้เพราะฉะนั้นธุรกิจเนี่ยแบบล้มตายกันอย่างมากมายนะคะทีนี้เนี่ยภาคธุรกิจก็จะไม่ยอมเพราะฉะนั้นเนี่ยมันก็จะภาคธุรกิจก็จะบังคับให้รัฐว่ารัฐต้องมีมาตรการ1 2 3 4 5คือไซเตสเองพอเขาบอกแบนแล้วเนี่ยเขาก็จะบอกว่าประเทศไทยจะต้องทำแผนขึ้นมาว่าถ้าจะให้หลุดจากลิสต์ที่ถูกแบนเนี่ยจะต้องทำอะไรบ้างก็จะต้องเป็นทำ national plan อะไรกันขึ้นมาใช่ไหมคะประเทศไทยก็ต้องทำเพราะไม่งั้นธุรกิจกล้วยไม้ที่ใหญ่มหาศาลเนี่ยก็จะแบบตายกันไปหมดเลยค่ะก็ใช้เวลาหลายปีทีเดียวแต่ว่าในที่สุดเนี่ยก็ถูกไซเตสก็เอาไทยออกจากรายชื่อที่ถูกแบนเนื่องจากว่าไทยก็พยายามที่จะวางมาตรการต่างๆเพื่อที่จะแสดงให้เห็นว่าเรามีความจริงใจนะเราที่จะทำตามคำเตือนที่แจ้งมาอะไรอย่างเงี้ยนะคะลักษณะเดียวกันเหมือนประมงอะค่ะที่ทางอยู่มีเรื่องแบนมีเรื่องการเตือนเนาะที่เราใช้แรงงานอย่างไม่ถูกต้องเนี่ยลักษณะคล้ายๆกันมันก็จะมีกฎวิธีหรือว่ามีวิธีการต่างๆที่จะควบคุมเหมือนกันถามว่าถ้าเราไม่ทำตามได้ไหมเช่นเราจะเนี่ยเราก็ยังเอากล้วยไม้ป่ามาขายอย่างเงี้ยก็ได้แต่อยู่ขายแต่ในประเทศเพราะฉะนั้นเนี่ยอัตราการเติบโตหรือว่าเศรษฐกิจเนี้ยมันก็จะเป็นอีกรูปแบบนึงไปเลยมันจะคนละเรื่องไปเลยค่ะเพราะฉะนั้นคุณก็จะไม่มีพื้นที่ที่จะไปโตในระดับที่เป็นนานาชาติค่ะแล้วอันนี้ค่ะก็เป็นเหตุผลหนึ่งว่าด้วยพอมันมีการแข่งขันกันอย่างเงี้ยทั้งในเชิงเศรษฐกิจการเจริญเติบโตอะไรเงี้ยเนาะอาเซียนก็เลยต้องรวมกลุ่มกันเพราะว่า EU ก็จะมีกลุ่มของเขาใช่ไหมคะอเมริกาก็ใหญ่แล้วจีนนี่ก็ว่าไปแล้วก็อาเซียนเนี่ยก็จะเป็นแบบประเทศเล็กๆเนาะแต่ทีนี้พอรวมกันเนี่ยอาเซียนเนี่ยก็จะเป็นเหมือนกับตอนนี้เหมือนกับสาวที่กำลังเบ่งบานทุกคนจ้องมองเพราะว่าศักยภาพมันเยอะมากประชากรก็เยอะมากแค่อินโดประเทศเดียวนี่ก็มากมายมหาศาลใช่ไหมคะแล้วก็ทั้งทรัพยากรแล้วก็เป็นประเทศที่กำลังแบบตัวเศรษฐกิจเองเนี่ยก็กำลังรุ่งเรืองเพราะฉะนั้นก็จะมีแบบอาเซียนบวกจีนอาเซียนบวกออสเตรเลียว่ากันไปอย่างเงี้ยค่ะนี่ก็เป็นสิ่งที่เราจะต้องคอยเฝ้ามอง
ประเด็นปัญหาคือคนไทยเราเนี่ยไม่ค่อยใส่ใจเรื่องพวกนี้ไงคือสิ่งที่จันแหม่มบอกเนี่ยอีกอย่างหนึ่งที่ด้วยความที่มนุษย์เนี่ยมันเป็นเรื่องของการแข่งขันเนี่ยมือใครยาวสาวได้สาวเอามีอยู่ครั้งหนึ่งที่ประเทศไทยพลาดที่ข้าวหอมมะลิเราไปถูกจดลิขสิทธิ์อเมริกาจดลิขสิทธิ์เนี่ยคือเราเนี่ยเป็นประเทศที่อะไรใจดีไม่ว่าจะเป็นขมิ้นชันนู่นนี่นั่นมีคนมาจับของเราไปจดลิขสิทธิ์หมดเลยแล้วตอนนี้ที่กำลังเถียงกันในเรื่องของกฎหมายการเกษตรนะพอดีพี่ก็ไม่มีเวลาตามแหม่มก็คือเรื่องที่ว่าถ้าเราเซ็นสัญญานี้หมายถึงต่อไปเนี่ยเราจะต้องซื้อเมล็ดพันธุ์หรืออะไรต่างๆเนี่ยอันนี้คือเป็นเรื่องที่ต้องรู้เท่าทันหมดเลยอะนะคือในโลกของการพัฒนามันไม่ได้สวยหรูไงมันมีทั้งการแข่งขันการ negotiate การประนีประนอมกันแม้แต่ในอาเซียนด้วยกันก็เหอะเรามารวมตัวกันเพื่อการผนึกกำลังกันที่จะสู้กับยักษ์ใหญ่แต่พอยักษ์ใหญ่ไม่แกกันเราก็รังแกกันเองบ้าง
เพราะทุกอย่างมันเป็นเรื่องของผลประโยชน์ล้วนๆเลย
เพราะนั้นคนไทยต้องเติมเขี้ยวเล็บอ่ะคนไทยใจดีไม่ได้นะต้องรู้ภาษาต้องมี global perspective นะต้องมี global literacy แม้แต่ UN เนี่ยก็โหเยอะมาก UN เนี่ย
เป็นน่ากลัวนะคะแบบว่าถ้าไปทำงานในนั้นถ้าไม่แน่จริงไม่อะไรจริงนี่ก็แบบว่าจะถูกเตะออกมาได้
ใช่คือการดีลกับ UN เนี่ยก็ยากเพราะว่าพี่ทำเรื่อง Girls ICT เนี่ยเรามีข้อกำหนดเลยว่าถ้าจะให้เราเป็น local partner เนี่ยหน่วยงานที่จัดต้องไปจัดที่ UN เราอยากให้เด็กบ้านนอกเนี่ยเข้าไปเหยียบ UN ให้มันรู้จัก UN ว่า UN มาใช้ facility บ้านเราเนี่ยแต่เด็กไทยเนี่ยไม่มีสิทธิ์เข้าไปใน UN นะมันเป็นยังไงอะไรเงี้ยอันที่สองก็คือเรื่องภาษา พอเราไม่ได้ภาษาคนไทยก็เลยไม่กล้าเฉียดเข้าไปในตึก UN อะไรอย่างเงี้ยนะคะอะไรต่างๆเหล่านี้เพราะนั้นการได้ภาษาเนี่ยคือเป็นอาวุธนะเพราะนั้นวันนี้เนี่ยเป็นวันอะไรก็ไม่รู้ที่เราใช้ภาษาไทยจริงๆเราต้องใช้ภาษาอังกฤษโหนี่ภาษาอังกฤษดูแย่ลงนะ
Exactly.
นะนี่วันนี้ฟังอิสมาอิลออกไหมต่อไปอาเซียนจะมาอีกเยอะนะถ้าฟังออกไหมฟังอิสมาอิลออกไหม
ออกครับ
ออกใช่ไหมโอเค
I can listen him.
ภาษาไม่ดีขึ้นกันเลยอาจารย์แหม่มทำไงดีอะพวกนี้ภาษาแย่ลงอะ
I think one thing that I really want to encourage, this is just from my observation. I think after when the presenter finished his or her presentation, we should at least each of us at least 2 questions or 2 comments. We should try to make it address towards such presentation. This is one way that we pay attention to the presentation, and 2, we think about it and then we try to analyze it within our head and then we communicate what we're thinking. I think that might be one way to do it. And more than that, I mean, we might be able to provide some more, let's say, relevant articles based on the subject that we discuss each week for our students to read a little bit more, because if only just one presentation and the video that available within the module might not be enough. This is just my personal observation.
Yes, as Dr. Pusaba saying that English is a skill. If you don't move your lip will be stuck. Connie,
Okay.
if you don't move, your lip will be very stuck and heavy, right? But if you keep massage your lip by moving up and down, then you can speak. And then
Yes,
because
I believe.
you have only 1 year, and then later on you have to do your thesis. No more chance to speak. And then for the resources, for example, if you want to be, because there is 2 main ingredients for you. You need to know about communication media, and the other thing is you need to know about ASEAN issue. And once we talk about ASEAN issue, it's not only about the culture. It's about the marine, it's about oceanic, it's about policy, about politics, it's about medical hub, it's about trafficking, it's about energy, it's about everything. And then you go to ASEAN.org. That one, let's receive a heap of information. For example, like a medical science or medical information, a lot on that. About migration on that, about labor on that. Everything is there. ASEAN community is the downsizing of UN. So UN has a lot of aspect of human being. ASEAN also the same. So you have a look into, for example, if you interest in kinds of the ICT, so you have to start from ICT master plan. And you have to have a look in communication master plan, because it's a structure of ASEAN. Communication and ICT have to tap itself into each particular of ASEAN. For example, ICT for forestry, ICT for energy, ICT for medical health, ICT for culture, ICT for heritage. Then you go deep in that particular topic. So what the first fundamental is, you need to study ICT master plan, communication master plan, ASEAN roadmap, ASEAN way, ASEAN speak, kind of that. And then also I will assign you more about the ASEAN communication journalism or kind of that. So that will be the further deep. But at the fundamental, you have to know this kind of infrastructure. This is the reason why we force you to learn about telecom system. Telecom system is like a backbone of communication of the country. We cannot communicate with the digitalization. We cannot use smartphone if the telecom is down. So telecom is important. So in America, in Europe, they force their students since the high school to study about telecom because it's important. But in Thailand, telecom can be learned only in the engineer. Very sad, right, ma'am? The engineers about telecom, but in communication they don't teach. But we teach you because we see that it's important. Yeah.
Will it help like if we have like okay, I mean we have got to work a little bit harder, but would it help if we give chance to like our students? We just have only like a three of us here, to let's say come up with some topics and then we give them chance to present and then we comment or discuss
Yeah.
as a group. Because I
No,
know that you do the assignment, so you like you write, but then in terms of presentation, speaking, do you want if like we all agree, then this is one way to go in terms of like practicing the language, then we can arrange the time to do that. I don't mind to devote more time for this if it would be very useful for you.
Yeah, that's a plan, Ajahn Dalarat. Actually, we plan to finish all the module by about mid of July. So this is mid of June. You have 1 month to go for all the module, and then later on we do a very intensive wrap up. And then after that, each of you have to make one consensus topic to make the live webinar like this. For example, you three agree to have kind of the live webinar in kind of Asean digitization, for example. So you need to provide this kind of public webinar. But before the public webinar, you each have to pick up one particular point that is your own passion and share with us, like Ajahn Dalarat said. Yeah. So right now it's kind of the journey of you all to explore April, May, June. And then about mid-July, you have to organize kind of consensus topic of that. Because in your module, you need to still study about the communication culture. And then literacy also, about advocacy also, about ICT also, still a lot to do. So you have to look around and then try to practice. So I think that by next Sunday it will be about the literacy, right, Ajahn Dalarat? Next Sunday it will be
Media literacy.
about information literacy, media literacy, digital literacy. So next Sunday you need to read before, and then you can discuss with the speaker, kind of that. So then you can move ahead your English, your skill about the content of this subject also. Yes. You finish international program, you need to be very fluent in English. It's a must. Okay.
Of course, professional.
Of
Oh
course.
God.
Of
Professor.
course. Connie, you look very serious tonight. What happened to you? Sleepy?
No.
What's the problem? What's your problem, Connie? Huh?
If you need help, just let us know. Yeah.
Okay. Whatever Ajahn Pami will facilitate all of you. So whatever, just tell us, because we all busy. We do know that we are busy. But once we commit to study, you need to be a master because you be graduate in master degree. Master means special skill, perfect, right? So, Connie, are you okay, Connie? You look serious. Okay.
I'm
Albert, are you okay?
I'm very okay.
Okay.
Albert, you need to share more of your opinions or ask questions in like
Okay.
each presentation, please. Because I'm quite
Okay.
impressed with Kunwara that try to like interact with our speaker. That is really good. So language is not really, it won't be an obstacle that protect us not to speak, right? We try to like get more clarification or get some answers. So just ask, just speak it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And
better.
then the staff will put all the video clip into our class so you can look back. Yeah, if you have time. Okay. Yep. Okay. It's very late for today, right?
Yes.
Jalalat,
yes.
would you like to close the session for tonight?
Yeah, I think it's fun though. I mean, originally it's like a sometime when we heard the word ICT, or especially ITU, it seems so far away from our like a daily life, right? But when we learn more about this organization, and we know that come on, they have some responsibility the to our countries or the service that they have to provide. So that's which is really good. And I like the interactions, the question that we have with the speaker tonight. Although we have some like obstacle in terms of the technicality of the live, or at some parts, if you notice, the sound, the audio is missing. So it means that those people who were watching us on Facebook, they did not hear. And immediately when almost at the end, when our speaker trying to still like a giving answer, talking, we just stop live. It's just people, because I monitor that, so people on outside this room would surprise, but we did not notice that because we could hear everything. So I think this would be something that we can fix at the our back end. Yeah. Yeah, but it's really good and always lovely to meet you all every Sunday night.
Okay. So
We have to find sometimes that we can get together apart from the class, or it might be when Kunwara have chance to come back to Thailand, we may have lunch, dinner together, or whatever.
okay,
Or
that's
go to
great.
visit them.
You
Okay,
mean
I
the
will be the
physical
host.
meeting, right?
I will be the host for you all. We can go to the Coney Hospital or Albert House and make a party. Okay. We invited to have a meal together once Kunwala come back to Thailand.
Yeah.
Or we can go
After
to Chiang
Singapore,
Mai.
Yeah, please
you
come.
can you can go to Singapore. I will host on of you.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I can.
Very expensive.
Did you know that
Oh,
this is it's
free.
recorded?
If you come, that's free.
Okay. Thank
Only
you.
the transportation. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
We will post it that. Okay. Take care. Keep
Yeah,
well.
good
Bye
night.
bye. Bye
Bye.
bye. Good night.
Thank
Thank you, Achan. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye. Take care.